Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. It's Friday. It's time to talk a little bit of waffle. LB is here. Pat is here. You all right, gentlemen?
All good. Are you drinking wine at this time?
Add 9 hours, mate, and then it makes more sense.
I apologise for my rudeness off camera. You don't want to be seeing my throwing up face. I'm ill, but I'm committed. That's why I'm here. What are you going home for? I'm committed. When you're ill, you take a week off.
You're the illest and the illest.
You got to recover, mate. You got to let your body recover.
No, you got to push through. Got to push through. So Pat's going to deal with the comments.
A few more of these, I might be birds of a feather.
So Pat's going to deal with the comments. You know, it's a good thing when you got a right man in charge. So, gentlemen, where do you want to start? I'll tell you what, LB, we'll start with this because I've not heard much. I've not heard from you on this. Apart from on your own channel. Club World Cup. Why is everyone having a meltdown? What's going on? I'm intrigued.
What is the meltdown? I've not seen the meltdown. What's the meltdown?
You've not seen the meltdown? You've not been in spaces on
Twitter? I've not really been on Twitter that much, so I've not really seen what the meltdown is. What's the meltdown?
We only won 2-0 and we were slow boring and pedestrian.
We only won 2-0, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the first game.
Sent Shirky back after 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's the first game of the tournament. And like it's our first preseason game. That's just how it is. Like what people are expecting. People are expecting us to play like some unreal football from game one. Like it's not gonna happen, man. It's not gonna happen. So yeah, for me, like I don't know what the meltdowns are. I've not really seen too much meltdown. I had some people in my watch along who was a bit angry at how we were playing, but like you've got to give it a little bit of time, man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I thought there was a lot of positives to take and some negatives, of course. But Reinders was fantastic. I thought Vita Hayes was really promising. Another game from him promising. I thought Marmouche was good. Doku and Savio thought had great first halves. So there was positives. I mean, pre-season, you're gonna this is basically like what it's about, isn't it? Like you iron out your negatives and you sort of like look at the positives. So I don't know, man. I feel like if you're being negative after one game when we've got new players playing and everything, I think it's a bit mad. You got to give it some time, man. But yeah, I was. I
think there's a little bit of worry. I think there's a little bit of worry from last season. Bit of PTSD.
Maybe, I don't know, man. People just need to chill in it. People need to like give it some time. Do you know what I mean? Give it some time. Let's see how we are after. Listen, these first two games against Wydad and Al Ain, you ain't knowing what's going on, mate. Real talk, like you ain't knowing what's going on. Like it'll be the Juventus game, yeah, and then the knockout games. Should we get there, that we can start to have a look and maybe start piecing stuff together. But at the same time, like, bro, it is a tournament. It's not pre-season, but like the way we played in the second half, it clearly treating it like a pre-season tournament. So I don't know. I think everyone just needs to relax if people are getting stressed. Give it a couple more games and go from there. But yeah, I thought there was some positives, man.
What's not playing the off-season without a bit of rust, eh? I think the problem is I think people think this tournament's such close proximity to the end of the regular season. They still think that a lot of the players should be at peak fitness. It's like, I'm sorry, but there's been too much start-stop so far, you know, and even the players who played, you know, deep into the Nations League and that, there's still time. There's still time, and you know, there's still time between fixtures and that, and you know, this is a form of warm weather training as well too. This is similar to like when, you know, teams get knocked out early of cups and they end up with that, you know, 10-day gap, you know, in January or February, and they end up having to Abu Dhabi or Dubai or something like that too. So you can draw parallels between what we're doing now and what we can do sometimes in a regular season. So, you know, just wait and see, you guys. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm happy that a rusty team got away with a clean sheet and a win. So that's fine with me.
Yeah.
How are you viewing the World Cup, YouTube? World Cup. Say World Cup. Club World Cup. Yeah.
I'm viewing it as like, I want to win it. I want to do well. I want to win it. Like, obviously, it's one of them, isn't it? Like I said, I think the first two games, we're always going to be experimental. And Pep's basically confirmed that by saying he's going to play a completely different 11 on Sunday night against Al Ain. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just like I say, if you want to judge it a little bit more after the Juventus game, after the knockout games, fairs. Like, I'll be more open to that. But if you're judging a performance after the very first game, you look at that team that we played on when was it? When did we play? Wednesday. Look at that team that we played, Nico O'Reilly played left back. He won't be our left back. Vito Hayes played centre back. He won't be our centre back. Ake played centre back. Probably won't be our centre back. And Rico Lewis played right back. He won't be our right back. Rodri didn't start. He'll be starting. Haaland didn't start. And Savio Ndoku maybe will start. I don't know, but probably won't. Half of our strongest 11 was out the team. Do you know what I mean? We had a Reinders who I thought played really well. Really, really well. So, yeah, like I say, for me, I'd just say to people, like, fairs, like, if you want to raise some concerns, whatever, chill, but, like, you can raise them, innit? That's fair, but I think if you're going a little bit OTT, I'd say just chill out a little bit. You know what I mean? These are preseason games. I'll be more open to hearing the criticisms or the meltdowns after the Juventus game, because for me that's a game that I think we should be going a bit stronger, and we should be starting to see some nice patterns of play, nice football. And if we're still, if we see a second half like we did the other day against Juventus, then maybe I will be open to a little bit more. Like, hang on a minute, like are things really changing? But I ain't making too many judgments off the first two games. No way.
Do you know how sad I was?
Sad.
You know how sad I was? I'm going to sound very sad. I started looking at flights and tickets last night.
Are you going to go?
You know why he's going to go, Relby. You know why he's going to go. Because depending on where we finish in the group, we could play at least 2 fixtures in Orlando. Maybe 3 fixtures in Orlando.
Got it.
So he's looking at Virgin Atlantic sale fares for that mid-morning flight from Manchester to Orlando.
No, I did. I found a flight.
To be honest, you'd be spending more time looking at the bottom of a toilet bowl right now. But
640 quid with Aer Lingus, and I'm like, should I go and do a 5-day?
Is that how much it was?
Yeah, 640 quid with Aer Lingus direct. But then I thought, should I? I was like, no, I'll get in trouble. I can't write that off as expenses.
I don't know if you saw the guys. I don't know if you guys saw this, the lead up to this competition the same way I did, but I was sort of allowing myself to let the tournament sort of speak for itself, in a way, because we could talk about what we thought about what City were going to do. We were wondering what sort of form PSG were going to bring from their success in Europe this past season. But I've been saying this since the tournament was basically introduced. We knew what the dates were going to be, and I said I think the biggest threat to the European teams will be the South American clubs, and even to an extent the greater Latin American clubs, partly because they're in the middle of their season right now because it runs by calendar year, so they're all at peak fitness. And the second thing too is the culture of Latin American football. They take this competition seriously.
They do.
And the other thing too is that it creates a really good sort of battle between the South American clubs who have the passion and the European clubs who have the quality. So it's sort of like one makes up for the other. One makes up for the other shortcoming, basically. And we saw it today. PSG losing to Botafogo, and they played. And fair credit to Botafogo, they defended like absolute animals in that game too. I watched a fair bit of it. So it just shows that once these sort of clubs just get a sort of a bit of a whiff of the oily rag, then they'll do everything to try and hold on to this tournament. And I think for that reason, it's a reason why European clubs should take it seriously. And I think now that we're seeing that, certain groups like that PSG group, for example, is wide open now. Anybody can go through. I think hopefully that'll create like a trickle-down effect to all the other groups as well too. And who knows what we might see? We might see some upsets. We might see some underdogs or some unexpected clubs, progress in this tournament as well too, because it's a different dynamic. It's a different situation to what a lot of these clubs are familiar with in terms of what they play year in, year out. So I'm not suggesting that we may have any sort of a collapse or anything like that. I certainly don't expect that. But, it may come down to the fact that we may only get through, we only finish second in the group because of goal difference or something like that. So every team's going to have different obstacles to overcome. But I think at the same time, it is going to make this tournament quite interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the occasional underdog or maybe the occasional upset and things like that, because this tournament is different. And it's the longer it goes on, continually like this, I think it's going to end up turning out to be quite an entertaining tournament.
Yeah, they do take it well seriously, don't they? They take it proper serious. So
even the fans do. You look at the way the fans take it over there in South America. Well,
did you see the Boca Benfica game? Those Boca fans made that place sound like it was completely full. They made it sound like the Bombonera.
Yeah, they're crazy, the Boca fans. Ora Boca, ora Boca.
Yeah.
Ora Boca.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
do that again.
LB, can I suggest something, mate? That is bucket list football. You have to see that before you die.
Yeah, I want to go and watch it.
And Monumental as well, but where River Plate played.
Doesn't matter
which one you go to, it's a win-win.
Which stadium did you watch it?
I went to Bombonera. But the thing was that I went to Bombonera not necessarily because, I wanted to go to see Boca play, but it turns out that the year I was there, 2012, was the year that River Plate got relegated the season before. So there was no River Plate derby, basically. It was the next closest rival to Boca Juniors for that season was actually Aguero's old club, Independiente. And the guy who organised the ticket for us happened to be an Independiente fan. And that we didn't find out until we got to the ground that we were actually sitting in the away section at Bombonera. And it was one of the most crazy, intense, death-defying, yet exhilarating experiences I've ever had in my life.
How much is a pint in Argentina?
Well, this is 2012. So back then, we're probably going to like local bars around Recoleta, which is actually a more upmarket place, part of Argentina. We'll drink like bottle because not really a lot of pubs do pints there, so it's just like bottles, like freezing cold bottles, at the fridge.
Yeah,
I probably pay no more than about £1.50 maybe. I reckon today that because they've got really heavy inflation there, you probably have to pay like £3 or £4, maybe £5, but it's the occasion, mate.
Yeah, interesting, man.
Oh, yeah. Here's one, because I know Blue Moon has asked me there a couple of times. Gundogan getting on before Nico G, or is it Nico Williams? I don't know. I think you need to ask Pep that one. Yeah, so in all seriousness, Gundogan got on before Nico G. Seemed to upset a few people. Personally, for me, I think it was just Pep giving everyone a go. And then, like you said, the next game, I think Nico G will play. Yeah. I wouldn't read too much into that. Gundogan.
Nico G, I've got a really good proposed lineup. Actually, we can talk about later for the LA match as well.
Yeah, no, I do. This is one that. Yeah, this is one that I think is worth a conversation, and maybe maybe I do understand why people are getting frustrated by this because, we want to be seeing the future of the club and the future players, not players that are probably going to leave this summer. I would imagine Gundogan's probably going to leave after the Club World Cup. So why he's getting on before him is a little bit frustrating. However, I just think, again, we're looking at one game in isolation. Once we've played 3, 4, 5 games, yeah, if Nico Gonzalez is still not getting on the pitch ahead of Gundogan, fairs. Yeah, but I just say that if Nico Gonzalez starts the next game and plays the full 90 and then maybe he'll start Juventus, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, chilling. It is frustrating. I do get a little bit frustrated myself that Gundogan's coming on instead of Gonzalez. But like I say, I think it's just one of them that we just have to, we have to wait for a couple of games to see if there is something in it. Because we could be sat here in a week's time going, oh, Gonzalez has actually played the next 2 games and he played the full 290 minutes. So again,
for that reason too, I'll have a question to ask you in return for that. But first, I'll just get Sam City's super chat there for £5. Thank you very much, though. Much appreciated. She's just wishing you, hope you feel better soon, man. Big up to LB and yours truly. Thank you so much.
Nice one.
Thank you so much. Big up, Sam.
Thanks, love. I was going to say, too, we're talking about the players that we're looking to see who's going to perform, going into next season. We also got to look at possibly some players that may be in the shop window.
Yeah, I think
in terms of outgoings, because I think our second transfer window business is going to be more about the outgoings than incomings.
Maybe, but then again, I think I think you kind of know what you get. Yeah, if Gundogan's leaving, I don't really think anyone needs to see him in this tournament to see what he's about. I think everyone knows. Say it's obviously Kovacic isn't fit, but it would have been the same with him. The one that really could have been in the shop window is Jack Grealish, but obviously he's not even been taken. So yeah, maybe, but I still think he's probably just wanting to give these players a little bit of a run out and just mix it up a little bit. And Pep probably knows that Gundogan's leaving at the end of this tournament. I think Gundogan to Turkey, yeah, is a done deal. I think it's a done deal. So I think Pep's probably like, let me play Gundogan as much as I can before he goes. Do you know what I mean? And then
the club hasn't shut the rumours down, Mel B, so there might be something to that.
Oh, I think Gundogan.
Club haven't shut anything down.
I think.
Yeah, I think Gundogan's the one who's going.
He has to.
I don't
We've got
think
too many
Gundogan
players. We've got too many players,
Yeah.
man.
Well, that is absolutely spot on, which is why I don't think there'll be any incomings until there are outgoings.
And that reason too, I said before, I think it'll be two in. I think it'll be 2 in for 1 out. While we try to sort out the numbers, I think for every 2 players that go out, we need to get a sign. Well, it'll be a signing.
Yeah. Did you see that? Apparently, Kovacic is going to be back fit before the end of the transfer window, which is interesting. Be interesting to see if they let him go. Also, did you see the story morning in the Daily Mail saying apparently Morgan Gibbs-White is not completely dead?
No, I said that the other day. It's down a price. I know. By the way, I just want to clarify. You know this thing on Pep chose Cherky over Gibbs-White, which he did. You know, I have had that confirmed. The one thing I will say, Gibbs-White at the time was 85 mil. Cherky was 30. And Pep, believe it or not, does get, you know, if you don't need to spend 85 mil, don't spend 85 mil. If you know what I mean. So I think if it was up to Pep, he'd get both. But I think Gibbs-White was too much money. I don't know why, but Pep does get him. The exact word I got was Pep does care about the money as well. He won't just ask the club to spend 80, 90 million quid on a player that if you can get a player at 30 mil. I don't know. It's very weird the way he does it. But the Gibbs-White thing now is not over. But Forest would have to majorly drop their asking price, how big for that to happen.
Nah, I know. Yeah, City are not going to pay the money that they wanted. So,
if I'm going to guess, I'd probably say 50 million, 55 is where City would be with Gibbs-White, which I think is probably about fair value.
Yeah, I think that's probably what he's worth. They wanted like 70 or something. They're not going to get that.
Because the one thing I will say, I think it's the same with Livramento. I think if City could get Livramento, I think they will. But I don't think they're overly keen on paying 80 mil. I think City just don't want to pay.
If you had a choice between Gibbs-White or Livramento, who would you take in terms of necessity?
All day long.
Livramento.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we need a right back or more than a midfielder. So, yeah, Livramento. Facts.
Jason,
yeah, 100%.
Well, we can't seem to, we can't go a season without avoiding them, so it's possible, mate. Yeah.
Well, I do. I mean, it's like the goalkeeping situation. Do you know what it feels like to me? I feel as though there are some deals done, but they're waiting for the Club World Cup before doing anything. And I think that's on outgoing as well. I think... Who was it? Oh, yeah, that was it. So, you remember Sissoko and Mickey Hamilton, who had deals last pre-season? They were already arranged before they went to pre-season, but they went to pre-season with City first.
Yeah.
I think they've got deals lined up. So I think Gundogan's probably done wherever he's going. Because the other thing is, it's still June. I think some clubs won't move until that 1st of July.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I agree. I think the interesting one for me is the Ederson one, because he obviously come out and basically what I got from it is that like he's defo leaving, but he might stay one more year and just leave on a free. Like, is he going to leave or not? And it also seems to me that Costa at Porto is 100% the replacement, whether you like it or not.
He's got his bags packed, passport ready. It's
going to be him. So the question is, does Ederson leave this summer or next summer? That's the question.
If it was up to City, for the money wise, it would be this summer. Because at the moment, he still won't sign his contract.
Mm. Yeah.
So what you've got to pick.
Well,
They're
City
in
are
such
probably
a predicament.
Well, hang on a minute. So let's have a look. What's Costa's contract left? Diogo
It's a release
Costa.
clause, isn't it? 70 million.
Yeah, but he's only got 2 years left on the contract. So the question is, if you sell Ederson this year for what, 15 million? Yeah, you're probably going to have to pay the release clause or close to it, 50, 60 million, right? But if Ederson stays a year, you don't get a transfer fee, but then what would you be able to negotiate that price down because he's only got a year left on his contract? Do you know what I'm saying? Because all of a sudden, then they might accept 20, 25. So you got to do the maths on it, innit? Also, does he have like a +1 on his contract? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Also,
It says here his release clause actually. It says here on Transfermarkt his release clause is actually 75 million euros. It says on Transfermarkt, not 60.
So that's
that
what,
explains why we spent so long trying to negotiate it.
60 million
Yeah.
quid, basically. So would you rather pay 76? Oh, let's do pounds. Yeah. Would you rather get 15 million now for Ederson and then spend 60 million on Costa, or let Ederson go on a free next year, but then get Costa for 20, 25, maybe 30 max?
I would even say 40. I'd be fine with that even if it costs 40.
That's the question, isn't it? So, yeah. That's the weird one for me, the Ederson one. But I think he's definitely. I don't think he's going to be signing a contract anytime soon.
Blue Moon says we've got 7 centre backs. Minimum 2 have to go. Who will go?
You've also got to decide, like Blue Moon says. You've also got to decide, yeah. Like, is it actually in the club's best interest to keep Ederson if Ederson's not fully dialed in? It's all well as saying, well, I'd keep Ederson for 1 more year, then let him go on a free, right? But if he's not fully like locked in and he's thinking about his time in Saudi in 12 months, he's not concentrating properly. You've got to make that judgment, you know. You do. So yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, that goalkeeper situation. I think he's gonna. I reckon he might go there. I think the trouble that City have got is that the release clause on Costa's so expensive. I think if City could have got Costa for 40 million, I think City would have just said to Ederson, "Listen, go Saudi. We'll let you go for 10 million. We've got Costa." It's the problem is we're only going to get 15 million for Ederson, maybe 20 max. And 63 million quid for Costa is a lot of money.
That's so cheap, though. That's so cheap when I'm looking at Matt Gay going for 40 or 50 million in his last year.
No. It's not the same. It's not the same. I don't think it's.
I know you're gonna tell me homegrown and you're gonna tell me goalkeeping.
Costa, mate, at 62 million is well overpriced.
I think Ederson at 15 million is way underpriced, even with a year.
I probably agree. I think Ederson with his contract we should be getting about 24 million, 25 million.
Well,
he's only 31.
We turned down 25 million last summer for him.
Yeah.
So in reality, it should be 25 this summer.
They wanted 50 million last summer. 50 million was the asking price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, regarding centre backs, Juma Bar goes on loan. And believe it or not, I still don't know what happens with Victor Hayes. I think that will depend on a John Stones, because I don't know if you've heard this, LB, and I've mentioned this. I'd keep an eye on John Stones and Bayern Munich right now.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised, mate. The problem that he's got there is he's going to be playing every 3 days again, and he can't do that. He's literally proved he cannot play every 3 days. So, but then he's too good to go to like an Everton.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Listen, I wouldn't mind seeing him. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him at Bayern Munich. The thing is, we can't carry him, man. We can't carry a Stones, unfortunately, because we need players that can stay fit. So
we have got to think of the future as well. We're not able to carry people who. John Stones, to me, is a legend, but he can't play more than a game a week at the minute without going down injured. It's not sustainable, as Pep Guardiola said.
He played less minutes last year than Jack Grealish. Doesn't that tell you everything?
Yeah, and the scary thing is, I don't know how you reacted in that first game, But when I saw Nathan Ake limp on that ankle, I was going, oh, here we go again.
Well, that's why I said you need 5 centre-backs. I'm telling you, if we go into this season with 4 centre-backs, we are stupid. Absolutely stupid. Especially if one of those 4 is called Nathan Ake. We would be we would not be we got to learn from our errors. It's about learning from your mistakes. Yeah? You make mistakes, you acknowledge them, you learn from them. If we go into the season with 4 centre-backs, yeah, and one of them's Nathan Ake, that tells me that we haven't learned a goddamn thing, yeah, and that we are stupid. This is why we need 5 centre-backs. 5. Yeah, I see some people saying, oh, 5's too many. Right, sound. But when Ake gets injured, which he will, you've then got 3 left. And by the way, Ruben Diaz picked up his fair share of injuries last season. Gavardio's due one any time now, as we all know, because he's not been rested for basically 18 months. I just think, come on, man. How can we literally go through last season with our defence to the point that we're drafting in Jamai Simpson-Pusey, who, let's be honest, 90% of these City fans, including myself, have never heard of. You know what I mean? And then we're just like happy to go into the season with only 4. Nah, it's crazy, man. We need 5 centre-backs. 5. I don't care who they are. Yeah, don't care. Yeah, I'd have it with Akanji personally. I'd stick with him and I'd loan Hayes out. Yeah, but if you want to sell Akanji and you want to stick with Hayes, cool. I'm not that bothered. But we've got to have 5. We've got to have 5.
I'm just working out in my head. So you have Gavardio, Diaz, Hayes, your 2 starters.
Yeah.
Rick Hayes, Kushanoff.
Yeah.
John Stones, Akanji. So that gives you. I'm working this out.
Yeah, so you
3,
loan out.
4.
So you loan out. You sell John Stones. Yeah, that's 250 grand a week saved. You loan out Vita Hayes. You loan out Juma Bar. And your 5 that you've got is Ake, Gavardio as your 2 lefts, Diaz, Huzanov as your 2 rights, and Akanji as your spare man. And he can play anywhere across the back line. He can play left back, right back, centre back as an emergency option. And you're completely covered. You can't go into a season with 4 centre backs, man. That's just going to be so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, and that's why we do.
I'd rather go 6. I'd rather go 6.
You're not going to be able to keep 6 upper.
Mm.
Even with rotation.
I think 6 is overkill, bro, if I'm being honest. I don't think you need 6.
I don't know. I think it's borderline to the rotation. I mean, if we get a right back in, then yes, I'll probably say yes. Let's go with 5. But for now, until I know we've got a recognised right back in, I'd rather go with absolute max opportunities for rotation.
But he hasn't, because he in Pep's eyes, he's got Nunes and Rico there.
Hmm.
Think of it from Pep's eyes. Pep sat there going, "My right back." By the way, I would still buy right back. So
the problem is that's not exactly his ideal first choice. So until
on the other side of the coin is
by adding extra rotation.
What do you class Nico Riley as? Because I think it's clear now at the moment he's a backup left back.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how Nico Riley gets into that midfield. If you look,
again, he falls into that category of, I want to give this kid time, but he's not good enough to be a midfielder for me because he can still give the ball away. So I'll put him out in the wing where you can give the ball away, but you're not in as much a vulnerable position by the way we play. So it's just falling into that Delph category, that Zinchenko category. You know, we've seen it all before. So I don't know. It's just it's an option. It's like limited options basically. And I think if you have to rotate with a centre back, and we know that's worked before, but at the same time too, it's not something that we want to use week in, week out because that ship sailed. We want to travel with it. Pep always wants to try and reinvent the wheel every new season.
But do you know what? Do you know what says it all for me? We are using 3 midfielders as backup fullbacks. Rico Lewis, Mateus Nunes, Nico Riley. That tells you how stacked we've now got in midfield. I went on the City website the other day. Have you seen our midfield list?
Yeah, we got loads. That's what I've already said it. People don't understand it sometimes. They don't understand what I'm saying. But if I was Nico O'Reilly, I'd leave. I'd definitely
I wouldn't leave. I'd go on loan. I'd look at a loan.
No, I'd leave.
He's got age on his side for a loan at least 1 year, I think.
I'd just go. I'd just leave. Do what some of the other English lads have done and leave, bro. Because he's not going to play next year, is he? Where's he going to play? He's not going to play left back. We've got Ait Nouri. He's not going to play midfield. So when's he going to play?
And not only that, you've got Nathan Ake or Gabardio that can also go into left back. I think if it's the Premier League, he's using Gabardio as a backup left back to Ait Nouri. More than he's going to use Nico O'Reilly. Because I'll be honest with you, and I hate saying this, and I think O'Reilly was a breath of fresh air last season. Nico O'Reilly was probably the worst player on the pitch the other day.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a great game. But then again,
I thought Amrabat bullied him.
There's a few players who didn't have a great game. But yeah, I don't think he played particularly well.
It's mad.
Yeah. Just want to go back to Antila Bender's comment here about do you think Nico G would be a direct replacement for Rodri like he did with Fernandinho and Rodri? No, I think the way I look at Nico G is he's a number 8 who can play at the 6 if you're in a pinch. In the same way that like Rodri was a 6 that turned into more of an 8 as time went on. I personally think the long term solution for Rodri once he gets a little bit older is that Jashari from Club Brugge. Because from what I've heard from scouting reports, they reckon he's like one of the best expansive like sort of young number 6s that are coming through at the moment. So if they were going to go after anybody, I think they go after him. Yeah,
maybe, but yeah, Nico G. Yeah, you're spot on. Nico G is not an out 6. He said it in his interview, didn't he? Probably a bit of a red flag, really, when we signed him. Obviously, everyone was expecting him to come in and play 6 straight away, and he come in and he basically said, "I'm not a 6. I like to get forward and stuff." So, yeah, I don't know, man. I like Nico G. I think he's going to be a great player to have in the squad. I think you're going to see the best of Nico G when we play every 3 games, every 3 days. When we play every 3 days and it's game after game after game, I think you're going to really see Nico G's value to the squad.
Yeah. He had a little stretch in February where he played every 3 days, didn't he? It was really good.
I like it.
Yeah, I think there was, I don't mean you discussed the cellmate. I think that United game has misplaced people on Nico J with Pep. I think because he was dropped from that United game, people think Pep's just lost interest. But when you look at the stats from last season, he did play a lot and he started a lot more, because he was required. I think people are just panicking a little bit too much on Nico J. I think Nico Gonzalez will be a major part of this squad moving forward. Pep even said it in his presser the other day. He says, because someone asked him about his backup to Rodri, and he went, "I've got Nico G," even though he did mention Nico Williams. And everyone got excited and thought we were buying a winger.
Just what we need.
But hey, I don't know. There is a list of names for right back. If Libamento isn't the guy, I know they've got, is it Vanderson, Boer,
from Monaco, yeah.
Boer, Bayern. That Fernandez has come off the list apparently.
I watched him for Porto against Palmeiras the other day. He actually had a decent game.
And there's a kid at Barcelona whose name keeps going out my head, who they've also looked at. The young, is he 18, 19?
You mentioned it the other day.
Barcelona, his name's gone out my head. Fort, that's it.
Yeah, Fort.
Oh, Fort. I brought it out when no, I don't like him, me.
You don't like him? Why?
I've only watched him a few times, mate, but I thought it was bad when I watched it, but maybe I just got unlucky as always.
You always do that. You do a watch along, you do a scouting report on a player and they drop an absolute stinker.
Yeah. Well, I'm just telling you, I
Okay,
watched him in the
what's the
Champions League.
I'm just looking at the highlight of it now on Google. It says Morgan Gibbs-White would still be open to joining Man City, linking up with close friend Phil Foden, as well as working with Pep. It now remains to be seen whether he reappears on Man City's radar or whether that route is closed for now. And that was posted by...
The one thing I will say, I don't...
Colomase?
I think City, I'd keep an eye on his contract situation. if he's not signed the contract soon, I think City will move next summer. Because don't forget, next summer you're definitely going to lose Bernardo, you're going to lose Gundogan, you're going to lose Kovacic. That's 3 midfielders out
And more English players.
Yeah. So I think if Gibbs White isn't now, he will be someone in the future. So there you go. What's selling the can? What about? Whoa! You're flying through here. There's questions.
Hey.
What was that?
Well, Ashit said something interesting here. He said, "Yeah, stop calling it preseason." I was like, I've always said, you know what it is, and it's an extension of us winning the Champions League.
No. See, I disagree. I think Pep is seeing some part of this as pre-season. You don't make 10 changes in the next game if you're taking it in a. I think he is looking at it as pre-season as well.
Do you think it's based on opposition? I mean, if you took us out of this group and say put us in that group of death with PSG, Atletico, and Botafogo, I think his attitude towards the group stages would be completely different.
Yeah, agreed.
It's very different to the last World Cup. That was during the season, and it was 3 games. This is 3 games minimum.
Yeah.
And we're going to get through. So then you're into the next round. And don't forget, under UEFA rules, you've got to have 2 to 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
So when this is finished, they'll all go and have a 10-day holiday.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, because Premier League season starts mid-August. So even if we make the final, they'll have a month off. Well, a month between games.
Yeah, so we have a pre-season
Let's assume
game.
they need to be back at bare minimum a week before the league season starts.
Are we having a pre-season game?
Nothing's been announced yet, but I think they'll do something at the CFA.
Do you think there's a possibility they might do that pre-season that they're meant to do away at Leipzig, which was part of the Gvardiol contract? Because there's no community shield.
No, I think it had been announced by now. If you think about it, a lot of clubs will already be on tour. They'll already have their tours.
I get that, Martin, but we have seen pre-season matches being added, not necessarily last minute, but added quite late on, during the summer months as well. So there is a possibility of it happening. I think the fact that we have an extra week up our sleeve with not having to worry about community shield for the first time in 5 years or whatever it is, does open up a few more options for us in terms of what we do in terms of a preseason. Like I'm still of the thought that they will play a bunch of games that we, at the academy, whether that be, inter squad, squad against squad or something like that, or if they even do like they did last summer where they played a match against Chorley or something like that, like just some local stuff, or if they can get Girona in and play at the academy like they did a couple of years ago. Like, I don't know. I just think I do see the preseason being played a lot closer to home for that reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do anything at the Etihad because Etihad is still going through what they need to go through, relaying the pitch and everything. I think if they do anything, they'll be at the academy, the Joey Stadium.
So they'll play
Ortega will just go. Yeah, Ortega will go on a free.
Yeah.
That's what'll happen with Ortega. I don't, unless he suddenly, wants to turn around and just re-sign, but I doubt that because I think at his age he wants to be a number 1 somewhere. And I don't blame him.
I think he's good enough to be a number 1 in about half of the Bundesliga sides if he wants to go home.
We've got to be ruthless as well in this. We've got to stop being sentimental and get a bit ruthless with some of these players. But again, the problem is you need buyers. It's all right saying, I want this player out, I want that player out. You need a buyer. This is the problem they got with Jack Grealish right now. Everyone's pulled away from Jack Grealish because A, they don't want to pay a massive fee and they don't want to take his wages on the loan deal.
Yeah.
So it's like Napoli's pulled away because they're like, we're not paying 300 grand a week.
Yeah, and because of what City have done, not taking him to the Club World Cup and making it clear that his career at Manchester City is now dead, City have no negotiating power whatsoever. None.
We've not even had a bid for McAtee yet, LB. So what do you mean? I mean?
If a club comes to City and says, oh, we'll take Grealish, but we'll only pay 75 grand a week of his wages, what's City going to say? No.
That's City having to pay 235 grand.
You're better off paying 235 than 300, aren't you? So
it's such a. This is the problem, John Stone's $250,000. Again, I've just said McAtee. Nobody's made a firm bid. But again, don't forget, it's only
nothing's
June.
going to happen with that until the Euros are over. The under-21 Euros are over.
Well, not only that, it's June. Some clubs won't do anything until July because of their PSR.
Yeah. Walter, you might have joined a bit late, mate, but it was just City Extra was saying that don't rule out City still going in possibly for Morgan Gibbs White.
That rumour's never going away, and I know Jack Garn has always said it's not over. Jack Garn has been saying it for weeks. It's not over.
Mm.
It may be over for this summer. It may not be over in the future. So, and the thing is, right now we've got a squad of what, 27, 28? I mean, no, we've got 27, 8, got 29 players, nearly 30 players.
He wants to keep it below 25.
And nobody's left yet.
No.
Because we've got 27 players at the Club World Cup, and you've got Grealish and McAtee who've not gone.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. It's this was why, because we've built the squad a bit. We've been a bit lackadaisical with squad building and a bit lazy over the last 2 years. And now what we've done is, and I'll say it again, we've bought very good squad players, but the trouble is, nobody else wants to buy our squad players for any amount of decent money.
Yeah. That's the problem.
It also comes down to the situation sort of caused this to happen as well too, because you look at it like after the treble season, if we didn't have the 4 in a row to chase, the reset would have definitely happened that summer, I think. No question about it. But knowing what was at stake there that following season in 23-24, I kind of understand why we did it. Now we're sort of picking up the pieces. Like we're sort of starting. We've started the sprint, but the shotgun's gone off. 10 seconds after we've left the line, basically. So now we're just sort of playing a little bit slower catch up, or a bit more of a catch up than what we would have liked, or what we're known to do in previous seasons. So I don't have a problem with the club doing that sort of thing, but we have to accept that the process is probably going to take a little bit slower in terms of recruiting and rebuilding. And this is definitely the first window of doing that.
I agree.
I think people are getting a bit skewed by it's still early, still June. We've still got all of July and August to go yet.
Just a little bit less than 2 months before the season even starts. So we've got plenty of time.
So that's what I'm saying. I think because we've moved so early. And by the way, I was listening to some rival fans, and I know the rival fans, but I think people think we bought just okay players. I actually think we bought 3 quality players. I think we bought 3 quality players that will massively improve our squad.
Well, what we've done is, Martin, we've bought 3 players that have legitimate potential to become world-class players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people might argue that Reinders is already there. I think he's very close. I know he's probably a year or 2 away. And Cherky probably is a world-class player if he can deliver consistently. And that's what we're looking for. If he can deliver consistently, then he'll be world-class because that's how good he is. But yeah, we bought 3 players who can get, and that's what we used to do when we was buying these players, and we bought the squad that eventually done the Centurions and trebles. We had players that could become world class. You know what I mean? And the only world class players we probably bought was Haaland. Was he? Yeah, he was world class at the time. Was Gavardio world class? Maybe he was very close. But that's what we've done with these 3 players. You look at some.
We don't buy world class, Albert. We turn them into world class.
Yeah, exactly. But these players could easily be sitting there at the end of the season saying all 3 of these players that we signed are world class players very easily. Oh, we might not be saying that, but I'm saying they all have potential. They all have potential to become world class, like genuine world class.
Blue Man says, "Would you guys start Roger if we play Madrid in the round of 16?"
No,
at the moment,
no.
We don't. I'd like to think we're not going to play Madrid in the round of 16, but we'll wait and see.
No, but I wouldn't, and this is what I mean. This is where I think where I don't think Pep sees it the same as others. I think Pep does. People aren't going to like this. I think Pep does see this as part of a pre-season.
No, I'd play him. I'd give him 60 minutes. Why wouldn't you give him 60 minutes?
Real Madrid, it would become a very intense game, and
But when do you throw him in, Martin? Because at some point you've got to brave it and throw him in. He's been training now with the squad for about 3 months. So at what point do you throw him in? You've got to do it at some point.
I mean, saying that, knowing Pep, he'll probably start him on Monday morning.
I'd give him another 30 minutes on against Al Ain. Yeah, another 30 minutes there. And that means he's done 30 minutes back to back. I'd give him 45 minutes against Juventus, and then I'd give him an hour against Real Madrid if we get Real Madrid. At some point, Martin, you've got to play him. And if you say don't play him against Real Madrid, okay? Do you play him in the semi-final? No,
that's what I mean. I think
a
semi and a final. Yeah,
you've got to start him at some point. For me, I just think you need to rip the plaster off and just.
I get it. I do get it. I mean, for me, I wouldn't properly start him until the Wolves game.
Also, look at the opposition too, because I think if we played against a South American team, I wouldn't be surprised if they targeted him. They're not targeting because maybe he's not targeting because he's come off an injury, but because South American teams, when they come across stronger opposition, they're known to target.
That's what concerned me the other day, because I thought I thought we were very aggressive the other day. Very aggressive. You look at that tackle on Mamouche, and I know I joked about him being sexually assaulted. He literally got flown in with a boot in his ball sack. You know, if that was Rodri, I'm watching Aki getting leathered left, right, and centre. And you know what I did notice the other day? I thought players were pulling out tackles a little bit. I genuinely do believe they were pulling out tackles. You look at that one with Oscar Bob on the wing. Oscar Bob had no interest in trying to win the ball. And I don't think that's because he's a shithouse or because he's bad. I think in his head he's going, I don't want to get injured again for the season.
Do you think it also helps that every team in our group as well is also in a preseason mode as well? Because Morocco played the same as European, like their season runs the same period as Europe. So does Al Ain. Asia does the same, and of course Juventus are in Italy.
People like lights. I think the South American teams will always take this tournament more serious than European.
Yeah,
I think it's been like that.
I think at least one of those South American teams will make it at least to the semi-final.
Yeah. You look last night. The South American teams.
Botafogo just look like they're serious about this. They want to win this. Yeah.
The South American teams are really up for this, and they always are. You go back to the Club World Cup when we played it last time. We said the same thing. The South American teams see this as a major tournament in Europe and in the UK. I don't think fans see it as a massive tournament.
Martin, can I give you an example of how serious? Can I give you an example of how serious they take it? Back in 2009, I did a trip with a mate of mine over to Brazil. It's the first time I'd done South America. And while we're there, he's a big football fan as well, like me too. And we ended up scoring tickets to a couple of matches at the old Maracanã before it was renovated for the 2014 World Cup. And we saw Vasco da Gama play, which is the team that Coutinho plays for now, I think. We went and saw a Flamengo game. Weirdly enough, it was the first game back at Flamengo when Adriano left Inter. Remember Adriano was just a baller back in the day. And And the Flamengo game that we went to, like obviously the hype was around Adriano coming back as well. But when I was there, you saw gift shops and you saw people selling stuff and that. But the main thing that they were still selling was, I think it was 1981 or something when they won the Libertadores, and I believe they beat Liverpool in the Club World Cup or whatever the equivalent was back in those days. They were still selling like anniversary or tribute kits to when they won that competition. So it just shows how seriously they take it in that part of the world. They understand that, one, because over there, obviously the culture over there, football is life and there's nothing else basically. But also, two, I just believe that they see it as like this David and Goliath thing where it's like, we do personally believe that we believe that we are the best team in the world if we beat Europe. because it's a combination of we know that they're better, so we're going to try and beat them. Again, the David and Goliath effect, they're bigger than us, sort of thing. But also, too, it's like there's every opportunity that we know that our best players will probably end up in Europe. So if our players can beat the best in Europe now, then that's also another sort of bragging right against European teams. So I get where the culture sort of comes from as to why they take this thing so seriously. And I think most of us in Western countries, we sort of look at it and we're just like, if it's FIFA, like it's just garbage, sort of thing. We never take it seriously, basically. But for them, I'm glad that they do take it seriously, because it means that I think the club that you support, whether it's in the UK or anywhere in Europe or that, you have to back your team. You have to get behind your team, because there's going to be a fan base you're going up against that are just going to be absolutely going hell for leather for 90 minutes, creating the atmospheres that are so famous back in South America. And that's the sort of thing that can lift a team to play against a stronger adversary, basically. So for that reason, it's like I'm really glad that we're not playing a South American club at this stage of the tournament. But I'll be very interested to see if we have to come up against one in the knockout stages. Which, by the way, I think if we top our group and then we win the round of 16, I think we go up against the group that Boca Juniors are in. So that could be very interesting.
So we could play Boca.
We could play Boca.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I had it all mapped out. I was just trying to get my bearings on it again. One sec. You're right, gentlemen. Talk amongst yourselves.
No, I've not even seen like who we're playing, man. I'm just going with the flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I haven't actually worked out the permutations or who we could get. I know Real Madrid's one of them. I know when I was speaking with Ed, I think Ed was very. He wanted to win the group because he wanted to play the 2 games in Orlando. He wanted us to stay in Orlando for his own self. He wanted because he's going to go to the games.
Well, the thing is, Martin, is that if whatever we finish in the group, if Real Madrid finish the same in their group, then we can't face them. Well, we can't face them, I think, until at least probably the semi-final. But if one of us finished first and the other one's finished second, then we play them in the very next round. So we've got to try and avoid that.
This is the thing. Like you got Lee Career. It's a good point, but it says the thing is a Pep changing starting lineup will cost us in a lot of stages. The problem is how do our squad players get fit? Because we just said they were going to. At the moment, there are no other games. When do they get fit? When do they get match fit? There's no other opportunity. So, and I think this is why we've got to be careful on this. Why we're not taking it serious, because Pep Guardiola can't go with the same 11, strongest 11 every game like this. He can't. Because don't forget, you've got 15 subs a game. 15
well, that's what he said,
subs.
Martin. He said he's going to
make 5 subs.
He's going to change the full team for the next match. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So
if we top the group and we make it through the round of 16, we could potentially face River Plate.
Sorry.
Very good.
You got these share spot on. We have a big squad. Everyone needs to play. It's that simple. And that's the way it is.
Yeah. Correct.
It's sad. This is why FIFA have placed the tournament in a bit of a crap situation. You look at PSG last night, they rested Marquinhos, Neves, Macola was on the bench. There was loads on the bench.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, let's see how he gets on in the next few games, see what he does. Next game against Al Ain, he's definitely going to change the full 11 because he basically said that. I think like I said right at the start of this stream, I think for me, that Juventus game is the one that I'm going to be watching and saying, right, okay, what have you got for me? Do you know what I mean? But these first 2 games are just like, it's all about fitness. Getting the wins, get the points on the board, and then fitness. That Juventus game is the one that we look at and go, right, let's start to have a look at how we're playing now.
And because Juventus scored those 5 goals against LA, I just want to go and beat them now.
Have you seen that record?
It's that the goal difference makes it irrelevant. And number 2, if anybody's looked at our history against Juventus, it's not good.
Yeah.
In our history, we've played them 8 times and we've won 1. We've only ever won one game against them in our history.
Yeah,
Not a good record.
they beat us twice a few years ago in the Champions League, and we topped the group somehow. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
last
is that the one? That the one when
I was
Pogba
at
dicked all
that
over
game in
us?
Turin. Yeah, 20. That was Pellegrini's last season.
Yeah, I was at that
Yeah,
game
that's
as well.
when.
When
But the one
Sterling
at the
missed
Etihad or
out,
the one in
wasn't
Turin.
it? Turin.
Yeah.
I was in Turin as well.
Yeah, I was at that game.
I was in the bottom with like a sky blue Australian flag hanging around my
I
neck.
can't remember who I was.
Of course you didn't, mate. Yeah.
Do you remember
Friend.
I
Sterling
remember
missed
that
out
too.
on
I was
the net,
ripped on Peronis all night.
Look at you two here. Friends. I was there. Was you there? I was there as well. I had a flag around my head. What are we doing here? Bloody hell. We've all been at games when we've all been at games. Calm yourself down, lads.
How's that stomach treating you, man?
I'll say in a minute. 'Cause I don't even know what's made me feel this. I don't know what it is. Whether I've had some. I've not even had a lot. I was at the gym at 4:30. Came out the gym and
That's
just
probably
felt
what
like
you're doing, mate. You haven't eaten a lot.
garbage.
You need to have a bit of roughage.
No, I'm on some new medication as well.
I'm
on some
mad side effects. Yeah.
Some there's a new, can't think what it's called. Begins with them.
Yeah.
It's a new formation, a new medication anyway, and it's not agreed with me. I think.
You didn't pick it up.
I think I went too
dodgy
far.
back alley in Gorton, did you?
No, that isn't where to put my medication. Ask LB about dodgy stuff in Gorton, not me.
No,
So here's a question for LB. Let's say, at what point do you do a crisis video this year? I'm just asking for a friend.
We'll see how we get on, innit? We'll see. But when I do this time, listen, because you didn't listen last time, and I was right. So,
No, stop that. He's never dying on this show. Excuse me. I said this 2 years ago and you all ignored me. Told you about the homegrown stuff 2 years ago. You all ignored me.
Yeah, we'll see how we get on, man. I don't know.
What is this Jed Spence obsession? Why is everyone throwing me Jed Spence?
No, not Jed
Sorry,
Spence.
Jay,
man.
but Daniel Levy would charge. I've said this before. He'd charge 50 million just for the sit down. He would. Don't go near that Julian from AFTV knockoff.
Yeah, I don't want Jed Spence, man. Because he ain't got that potential to become a world class player.
He's 25.
Yeah, I know he's 25.
He's not a kid.
Any player that we're signing,
and they sacked Ange too, so
that
his career's going to go to shit.
Yeah, bro. The thing is as well, yeah, people are like, "Oh, get Jed Spence, it'll be cheaper." Is it Spurs? How much do you reckon they're going to sell him for? They want at least 2 million.
It's not that. Yeah. He's not even the number one right back at Spurs. Pedro Porro is.
And he was one of ours for a while.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
He definitely wants to join City. By the way, did you see what he said about City?
No.
He said like, "Oh, chat." What did he say? He said something like, "Oh yeah, like I really appreciate City, everything that they did for me, like blah 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 blah." It was like, bro, you didn't even kick a ball for us. Like, what are you talking about? You definitely saw that Walker was leaving and thought, "If let me see if City will come in for me." But obviously, I don't think City are going to go in for him.
Do you know what? He's not a bad player. You know, he really is not a bad player.
I think he's. I think he's overhated. I think he's overhated. I think people say he's like shitter at defending than he actually is. I think he's a decent player, you know.
Yeah.
But the problem is,
he came at the wrong time because when he came in, Kyle Walker was at his peak.
Yeah. The problem with
if he came in now, I think we'd be all over him. Yeah.
How much do you reckon he's going to cost, bro?
For Porro,
7.
Tottenham will want 80 million.
He's got 3 years left on his contract. He's 25.
Well, make it 90 million then. It's
Daniel
Levy. Assume it's going to be at least 60 million no matter how many years he's got left.
Well, we had to pay 50 million for Kyle Walker 10 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Kyle Walker was better than Porro, though, wasn't he?
No, I mean 50 million
as well.
50 million 10 years ago in the market today.
He's not homegrown, isn't it? So we'll be in trouble.
Have you seen it? Forrester off the Cambiasso.
Right, yeah, fairs.
Bring back
I saw Forrester after what's his name? I think it was Danilo. Leon were interested in Danilo from Forest because I think they were planning on using him as a replacement for Cherky or something.
Mm. Not sure. I think.
Because
Yeah.
I heard that was part of the reason why they were holding up the Turkey deal was because they wanted to get their replacement in, but obviously that sort of died.
People said that
I
they've
have
already got a player that can play in the Turkey position, Leon. Because people were saying, oh, they can get Echeverri, but apparently they've already got a player who can play there. It's Almada, I think.
That's somebody else. Echeverri, what the hell do you do with him soon?
I think you do. I think you get loaned out. Loaned out to a team, ideally playing Europa League football. So yeah, and then just see how he gets on.
I did get told this as well. Rico Lewis has asked for a meeting with Pep upon his return.
Fairs.
Because if you're Rico Lewis, think of it this way. Because I think everyone's got this. Well, he's from the academy. He'll sit there nicely and not playing minutes. McAtee said all this. I remember the quote from McAtee. I'm all right if I only play 2 minutes as long as I'm in the squad. Well, that didn't last very long until he was like, yeah, I want out, please. Players want to play.
Although, Martin, of all the players that we've let go from our academy, would Rico Lewis be one of those ones that you definitely want to have a buyback? Because I still think that the problem we have is that I think for Rico Lewis to truly flourish, we need to wait until he's in his near his prime.
No,
because
for Rico Lewis to flourish, he needs 4 or 5 players to move out the way.
Agreed.
His best spot is a number 8.
I think, I agree. I think Rico Lewis is actually really, really good in midfield. Yeah. However, he's not better than Reinders. He's not better than Rodri. He's not better than Foden. He's not better than Cherky. He's not better than probably Nico Gonzalez. This is one of the problems that you've got with Rico. And he's not a right back, as pretty much everyone agrees. So
is he better than Oscar Bob?
Well, again, yeah, but no, he's not better than Oscar Bob, not as an attacker.
So that's what I'm saying.
But he is good. He's a good player, man. And if he leaves, I will be gutted that he leaves. But I just don't see where he plays. I just don't see where he plays. If we sign, say we got Livramento, right? Where's he playing? Where's he get his game time? So when a good people say, oh, well, just keep him and that, yeah. But where are they going to play? If we get Livramento, he'll never play right back again. So then it's midfield. Well, he's never going to get in the midfield. So when are you going to play? So yeah, I think Nico and Rico have big decisions to make, man, about what they do, whether they stay or not.
Yeah, can I sound very harsh? I would put a buyback on O'Reilly. I wouldn't put a buyback on Rico, and I don't mean that in an awful way. I think Rico's going to get to a stage where he's going to be like, I need to play football. And the thing is, you look at our midfielders. Reinders is what, 25? Cherky's what, 21? Foden's 24,
no,
25?
Reinders will be 27 next month.
Nah. How old is Echeverri?
19, 20.
Right. So even saying in 5 years' time, where does Rico go? He's still got, and you're going to buy other players as well. In the meantime, there is too much traffic in front of Rico for him to be happy. And you go out the Carabao Cup in the first round. Well, when does Rico play then? You buy a right back, like you say, LB, Livramento, and he'll probably use Nunes or an Akanji or a Kushinoff or whoever in that situation. He's 4th choice there as well.
So
is it fair on Rico Lewis to be 4th choice in every position?
Fairness doesn't come into it. It's who's the best position. The thing is as well, right?
No. I'm thinking for Rico. I'm thinking in Rico's head now.
Oh yeah. Well, he needs to play football, right? The thing is as well, yeah. You look at how much money we've spent: 175, 150. So we've done over 300 or close to 300 million quid now in transfer spend in January and the summer. If you sell Nico O'Reilly, Rico Lewis, and McAtee, it's all straight profit.
Yeah, this is where I disagree with Alan a bit. I don't think because you're from the academy, you get a God's given right to go in the team. Yes, we want the academy to succeed, but they've got to be good enough. If they're not good enough, just because they're an academy players doesn't mean they go in the door. Yes, we will support them when they're in the team, probably a bit more, but the academy players have got to be good enough. Simple as. If you're not good enough, you don't get in.
I agree.
We've dicked around with this already.
Because you're good enough. Yeah, not because where you're from or who you supported growing up or whatever. Yeah, you play because you're good enough. That's it. Now, if you do come through the academy, now obviously people do have like closer sort of like feelings or whatever for players coming through the academy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that they just automatically given a right to play. No way.
No, and that's what people are going to do. We've done this sentimentality too much over the years. Sentimentality is what has got us into this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've got to do now is learn from this situation. Now, what I've seen so far is we have learned. We have learned from the situation. We've moved quick. We've changed the backroom staff. We've done everything that we promised was going to be done. I don't want to see us then make 2 steps forward and go 3 steps back. That's a sentimentality again. And what showed me in the summer is if KDB is able to be let go, then nobody's safe.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the way we're going to look upon this. Because next season, we've got to be challenging for the league. We've got to be challenging for every trophy we can go for next season.
I agree. Can't spend 300 million and just fucking challenging.
Because here's another thing, by the way, people going about, we've got all this money to spend. We spent 160 million in January. That was only 5 months ago. 5 months ago, we spent 160 mil. We've spent another 130 now, and they want to spend more money. You can't splash 400 million in 6 months and then go, oh, let's go back to the kids. No, they've got to be good enough. Simple as.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, mate.
See, I'm not all happy clappy when you all sit there and say anything. I'll give everyone a season. They can have a season off, but they better not make the same mistakes next season.
Yeah, on that note, I think it's a big year for Savio and Doku. I think it's a really big
I was
year
impressed. I was impressed with them the other day.
Yeah,
first half, I thought Savio was poor second half, but first half, I thought they were both really good, really, really promising. But I think they both need to have a big year, because if they don't, it wouldn't surprise me if one of them gets sold, or maybe even both, and we go big next year in the market for wingers. So let's see how they get on. But yeah, it was promising. You know what I mean? It was, again, we only played wide and whatever, but you can only judge it off the 11 that we played against. And I thought they were both pretty promising in that first half. So we'll see how they get on, man. It's a big year for them two, for me. Because if
I thought Doku was braver. I
thought his final
in his decision making.
Yeah, I agree. I thought his decision making was a little bit better as well. But whether you like Doku or you don't like Doku, if it don't work for Doku this year, you can't just keep on saying, give him another year. It's his 3rd year now. He should be ripping it up now. Yeah, he really should. So this is a big year for Doku. Savio, do you give him another one after this? Because it's only his 2nd, maybe. But yeah, big years for both of these players. They've got to deliver the goods, if not next summer. Because if you think, right, if we skip ahead, let's say we get a right back, yeah. Let's say we get Livramento, right? Look forward to next summer. What is there to do in the squad? Goalkeeper, if that's not sorted out. Centre back, maybe if you're moving on Akanji and Ake, but you've got 2 very promising ones.
I'd say we need another midfielder, because you're going to lose 3 next summer.
Yeah, maybe, but it's not going to be like a superstar, is it? It's going to be like a bit of a squad rotator, because you've got Rodri, Reinders, and Foden and Cherky. So it's probably going to be like a cheaper option or whatever. For me, the big one is going to be the wingers. I'm looking at the wingers next year, thinking that's the big upgrade that we might have to make next year. But we might not have to make it if Doku and Savio, have a good season. Big year for both of them. And for Bob as well, obviously, coming back from a long injury.
Yeah, and I think I do think Oscar Bob's got to be given an opportunity, because we can't keep saying Oscar Bob's got potential. Oscar Bob's the next one through. This is last season. Again, it was injuries, but now he's got to be given a chance. But remember, there's a World Cup coming up. This is World Cup year for a lot of players. And people are going to want to play.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to be sitting on a bench. So if you're... And the one thing I will give Doku is, I thought he was taking risks. You look at the goal, Doku wasn't doing that last season. Doku wasn't making the run off the man and coming in and putting a finish like that in. He wasn't doing that. He was hesitating. And I will say, I think, James, big up to James French, by the way. You can see the instant improvement in our set pieces. Those corners were so dangerous.
It's amazing what happens when you just put the ball in. I imagine you're old school, Martin, and you just like it when players put the
ball in the
box.
mixer.
Yeah, but for the last 8 years, listen, there's not much you can moan about De Bruyne. Yeah, unbelievable. I think the best player that's ever played for this football club. But God, I did not like his corners. I know he scored sometimes.
How good did our corners improve when Mamouche came in?
What?
I was going to say when Mamouche came in, our corners almost improved overnight.
Because he whips it in with pace,
yeah.
which is like what we want to see.
Well, otherwise, before him, we've just spent years just floating him in. Like, it was just nothing.
The Kevin De Bruyne floated fucking corner to the back
no venom, nothing. Yeah.
It was a killer. It was a killer, and because it was Kevin.
I don't want to see any of this. I don't want to see any of this short corner shit.
Nah, just put the ball in the box, man.
Because if you watch what a short corner does, a short corner generally goes to the first man, goes back to the corner taker, and 9 times out of 10, watch what we do. We kick the ball all the way back to the halfway line. And then it ends up back at Edison, and so you just wasted your whole corner. And to me, that's a waste. When you've got someone who can whip a ball in, put it in that 6-yard box and cause problems. Because it can come off a defender, it can come off someone's ass, it can go in anywhere. And we've got big units who can leap. Look at that Ake header. You look at that header from Ake that just went wide. He rolls like a salmon.
Biggest bloke either. He's sneaky good on a good set piece.
Yeah. And that's all I want to see. All I want to see, and each to their own. For me in this Club World Cup, I want to see improvements. I saw Pep Linder's barking orders, quicker tempo. We know the tempo has to go up. I think you'll see a difference in tempo on Monday morning because, I have, this, but there was 2 or 3 people that I know were out in that game. And Luke as well, who was out there, LB. The heat was exhausting the other day. It was exhausting.
Don't get me wrong, Atlanta at this time of year can be stifling hot, but playing at 9 o'clock at night is a lot different to playing at about 3 in the afternoon or midday or 3 in the afternoon.
I'll tell you something because I know Luke had to move seats, didn't he?
Did he? Why?
He was on the bottom deck.
He wants to get out, but then he also was trying to find seats for more shade or something.
Yeah, he was trying to find shade. I know.
The problem is too is that a lot of these grounds are catered for NFL. The NFL season happens during their winter, so they don't really specialize in sort of grounds that have like shaded areas because there's no need for them. Because a lot of these people are going to games that are like below freezing. So when it comes to this sort of thing, like with this sort of weather, there isn't a lot of sort of relief from the heat, basically.
It's the humidity. You look at me and you last year, Pat. We were there at 11 o'clock at night in Orlando, and we were dripping sweat at 11 o'clock at night.
I'll be real, yeah. Fucking hell. I was putting up a garden table yesterday, and I was dripping sweat, and I was hardly moving. So God knows how these players are feeling running around a football pitch. Yeah, I'm saying, must be hanging.
Yeah, and that's why I think if you look at the tempo for the first 30 minutes, I thought we were quicker. By the way, I don't like the football. I think the football shit. It doesn't look right, that football. All the football moved really crap. Hey, it is what it is.
I don't know. It looked more like the wrapper from like a Hershey's or something, like a July 4 tribute Hershey's or something.
Oh dear.
It's like white with all this red and blue sort of, patriotic sort of stuff. It's like, I mean, that could have worked for an Australian football, but yeah, or a UK one. You seem to forget, man. We're all red, white, and blue. We're all red, white, and blue in some way.
No, yeah. It is what, listen, I'm one of them on the preseason or club. If you want to take it serious, take it serious. If you want to see it as a preseason, each to your own. Each to your own on it. Like I said, if I'm not gonna lie, I've got more excited about the tournament as it's gone on. Hence why I was looking at flights yesterday.
As soon as we get past
Um,
this next Al-Ain game, everyone will get like more excited. Yeah, but at the end of the day, no one's getting excited for Wydad and Al-Ain respectfully. Like that's just the truth. As soon as
Wow.
we get,
I am. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff. That's bloody rare. That's rare that Ed's teeth over here. Excuse me.
Apart from the
Yeah,
Australians.
they're all going to the pub, LB. They're all
Yeah.
going to the pub while we're eating
Apart from the
cornflakes.
Australians, yeah. But everybody else is just waiting for the Juventus game.
Martin's not looking forward to the halftime call-in show when we Rich and I probably join in after about half a dozen pints. So because that's what we that's what we do on every Monday.
Funnily enough, my other half is actually going sleeping at my mum and dad's on Sunday night because she doesn't want me to be screaming the house down at 2 o'clock in the morning during the watch along.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're doing a watch along, I'm going. I went, okay. So she's going doing the caring duties for the night. So I'm like, okay. That is going to be weird, that 1:30 in the morning. That doesn't feel right.
Welcome to our world, mate. Welcome to our world. It's about time we shared it with you.
I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it. Big up to you. Big up to these people that get up around the world to do it.
It's not just us, mate. It's Asia. It's New Zealand. Like, it's just mad. The time zones are just wild. I'll just quickly put we had a membership 19 months from PK. Big up yourself. Thank you very much, mate. Always appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanking you. Right. Have we got anything else to add, lads? Because I think I might be going to the bathroom in a minute.
Oh, God. I don't know. Did you want to quickly say anything about the Al-Ain game or anything? Or, I don't know, have any ideas of what Pep might do rotating the squad? Because he's talked about having 10 changes or something.
Yeah, I think. I think expect 10 changes. Expect the same sort of thing that we saw again in the first game. I doubt it'll be an amazing performance. Get the win. Yeah, get everybody some minutes, and then let's start looking forward to that Juventus game. And I think that's the game, as we've said a couple of times. That's the game that we sit there and then we really judge. Yeah, if we shit after Juventus, maybe you start to go, okay, what's going on here? Maybe we need to work a little bit, change something, what, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, these first two games for me are preseason games. Simple as that. Like you don't get too stressed on preseason games. But you know what? Just quickly. Yes, Walter. I would start Cherky in this game against Al-Ain. I'd start him again. I'd throw him straight in. He'd be the one player that I'd probably stick in the team again. Everybody else I'd probably swap. But Cherky, yeah, I would start him again. I would. And he needs to get up to speed. So yeah, I would play him.
No, Echeverria. I would actually give Echeverria.
See, you could play Echeverria as well.
That I've got an interesting proposed lineup here. Let me see what you think about this. So looking at like a 4-1-4-1 sort of thing lineup, because I like that lineup as well. Got Ortega in goals, and then a back four of Nuri, Stones, Kuzanov, and Mateus Nunes. Nico G as the number 6. And then midfield four of Bob, Echeverri, Foden, and Bernardo, and early Haaland up front.
Yeah, Haaland needs to play. He should have scored, shouldn't he? That ball that Rodri played through. When was the last time you've seen a City player play a through ball like that to Rodri?
What did you think of the laugh afterwards when he missed it?
Karma, don't care.
Yeah, that's right. Kamara Mullet said at the Atlanta, where Atlanta play, it's indoors.
Oh, yeah, Martin, that's a good question. Martin, how much did you enjoy the player introductions at the start of the game?
Piss off.
It's weird, isn't it?
I thought I was watching WrestleMania or Royal Rumble. I was expecting like
Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I thought even the players looked uncomfortable. I thought, oh my God, what are we doing here? All we need now is an aisleway and WWE music. What are we doing? No, I'm not a fan of it. Why did you like it?
No, I was wasting time. I thought, get on with it. But I knew you'd hate it. I know especially all the older City fans. Like my dad probably was fuming watching it. I bet my dad was watching it going sick. Like, he ate stuff like that. My dad, when we got in the Champions League, my dad said he'd rather watch City versus Burnley, FA Cup, Saturday, 3 p.m. than watch City versus Real Madrid. He's old school. He don't like the new stuff, and like, you're not into like the European football and that. He just likes Premier League and FA Cup.
My other half was having a chat with your dad the other day.
Oh.
Well, as you know, as the chat knows, my other half works with LB's dad.
Small world, isn't it?
A very small world. You know, at that world famous factory now that's going down TikTok.
Yeah.
Because of the M&S shop.
Yeah. But basically, anyway, that's yeah. I thought that introduction of the players was a bit weird.
No, it was bad. It was bad.
Right.
Quick question before we
It's the sort of thing you have in the NBA, isn't it? Like they introduce the players like one at a time like that.
What did you make of Soriano's comments? Because I've seen a lot of people get a bit concerned about Soriano. Because if you read the comments, he doesn't actually say we're finished. He says the business we've done is very good. And we've got a good squad. He doesn't say we're finished.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, for me, Soriano's the money guy, so I don't like listening to him.
But I didn't like the comment he made because he started talking about the globalization again.
No, that's his job. That's his job.
I know. It's
He's
just,
more
I wish he'd shut up.
He's CFG, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he'd shut up.
No, you do. But that's literally his job. His job is to get the money in. So long as he doesn't go too far, then I'm chill. But sometimes he does.
Just while you're on, I want to grab your opinion on this. City fans taking City to getting legal advice on the season ticket situation.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that? Because of the 10 games minimum.
Well, they're entitled to get legal advice. My thing is with the season ticket is, right, if you've got a season ticket, for me, you should be going to the majority of the games because that's what you do when you get a season ticket. However, life happens and shit happens in life where sometimes you can't make it. So there needs to be, I think, just a process in place for there to be a fair situation. If you got a season ticket and you're going to 2 or 3 games a season, I don't think you should have a season ticket, yeah? But there needs to be a process in place. And how that's governed, I have no idea. Yeah, but that's up to the club to find out. There needs to be something in place where, like, if you're ill, yeah, or maybe you have a disability, or just shit, man. Just
or
like,
pregnant.
Bro, like,
pregnant,
yeah, like,
you can't go.
Or how about you moved the match a week before, so I couldn't make it because you moved the game because TV moved it. Just like, bro, just be. The word is reasonable.
That's the big thing. The moving the fixtures, LB.
Yeah, gotta be reasonable, man.
Like we don't have lifestyles that tolerate a 3-day movement between when one starts and one finishes. Like, you can't do it.
It's reasonable. Both parties have to be reasonable. Yeah, the fans have to be reasonable. I.e., if you get a season ticket and go to 2 or 3 games a season, yeah, then is that reasonable? Probably not. But the club has to be reasonable. Yeah, it's just what it is, man. But yeah, they're entitled. Of course, they're entitled to take legal advice. Of course, they are. If it's illegal, it's illegal. Simple. The club did it.
I mean, the one thing I will say, I think Saturday 3 p.m.s are dead.
Yeah,
if you look at this season, LB, you've got 6 teams in the Champions League, 2 teams in, well, team in Europa, team in Conference League. That's nearly half the Premier League in Europe.
Which will all move to Sunday when we play them.
Which will then all move Sunday. You've got more. You noticed there's no boxing game this year. That's gone.
I know. I'm a bit gutted about that.
Yeah, boxing Day without football's weird. I always remember when we used to play New Year's Day. 1st of January, we used to always have a fixture.
Probably Sunderland away and that fucking get beat 1-0.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Football in the Premier League in 2 years will be all on Netflix or Prime. It'll all be a subscription service.
No, it's not 2 years. The deal ends in 2029. That's when the next TV deal.
When that is, yeah. It'll be
Well,
there.
2029, when the next TV deal's up for renewal, I think it wouldn't surprise me, because the first thing they need to do is get a law changed in the country to say that they can have 3 PMs on TV.
The Premier League's eating itself up. If you look, and I think Stefan made a great point. I don't know. Did you watch Stefan? He was on a Newcastle Channel 3, Black and White Eyes. Really good show. I would recommend people with friends of ours, Baz and Ian. Top channel.
Give them a follow.
Yeah.
Check them out. They're really good.
And Stefan did an hour on there about 2 days ago. I'd recommend go and watch it. And he even said, the Premier League has set itself up. You look at the deals PSG did when they bought all them youngsters. 3 years ago, them young lads are coming into the Premier League. What you see now is a lot of top European players going abroad because they have better. Their PSR rules are better than ours. The Premier League is eating itself alive.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know who it was, right? But yeah, when you have the PSR rules as well, that's also gonna make it harder to get the superstars in.
Do you think? Do you think that's partly because that's the so-called red cartel has a bit to blame with that, because of the influence that they have on the league?
No, I'll tell you what it is. Because abroad, a team midway down in La Liga, I suppose some will say it's a good or a bad thing. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid have the stranglehold on all the money. France, they do.
Well, to be honest, Atletico only get the crumbs, and then everybody else gets the crumbs of the crumbs.
Yeah, but if you look here, West Ham can now spend 60, 70 million on a player. Bournemouth can now spend 60 million on a player.
Yeah, but
everyone can now spend.
Yeah, but there's in their countries, TV is also, and the money's split a lot more based on where you finish.
Yeah.
In the position, and this is why, like, I get annoyed when people like Gary Neville talk about how we need to give more money to the lower leagues and that, when the clubs that get promoted, don't care about staying in the Premier League. They don't care. No. That's why.
Well, some even are happy to be relegated to get the parachute money.
Exactly, they don't give a shit. They buy all the 20-year-olds.
Doesn't the parachute money dry up the more you get relegated, though?
What?
It is. I don't know if I read this or misread it somewhere, but don't they say the parachute payments sort of are determined by how often you get promoted or relegated? So, like, for example, like teams like Norwich and Fulham, who are just yo-yoing for a time there for about 5 years, to the end of last decade through the start of this decade. Was there something on the lines of where their parachute payments weren't as high as they were in previous years?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Maybe I misread that. I'm not too sure, but
none of the clubs that get promoted spend the money well. None of them. They never do. Look how the promoted clubs spent the money last year. Look at all the youngsters did they buy. None of them. When was the last time you saw a promoted team buy like a 29-year-old or 31-year-old seasoned veteran Premier League? They don't. They buy all the 20-year-olds, so then they can have one good year and then they'll flog them for 40 million. Just like Southampton did, when they bought the Bazunu from us. Yeah, they bought Lavia, Howard Bellis. Why? Because if one of them does well, they can flog them for 3 times the money. Yeah, that's what they do. They're not, and then they get promoted, lower everybody's wages because it'll be in the contract, and then they get the parachute payment, and then they go up and down, up and down. That's all they do. It's just I'm not interested.
Luton Town came up, and they used their money in the Premier League to revamp the stadium and build their future.
Yeah, and it's like another double relegation.
Yeah, exactly. So like fairs, if that's what you want to do, cool. It's not that easy. You are totally wrong on this, LB. What if they spend and get relegated? Is that not the aim of the game, though? I don't understand your point. The aim of the game is to spend money to try and stay in the division. They spend money.
Try telling Burnley that.
So it is that easy.
Burnley the best when it comes to promoted clubs.
You think it's not that easy? Go and have a look at Burnley when they got promoted. Yeah, go and have a look at Burnley got promoted. They didn't buy a single player over the age of 23, not one. Yeah, and then look what happened. Odegaard sold to Spurs. Trafford's going to be sold this year. That's all they want to do. Yeah, that's all they want to do. They're not interested. None of them are interested. None of the teams that get promoted are interested in staying up. None of them. Otherwise, they'd be buying players over the age of 23.
Yeah, it's a job. Big up, by the way, Alf Raiders. Go and show Alf a lot of love in the comments and show Alf a lot of love by going hitting the subscribe button for him.
Yeah.
But
Big
yeah,
up, Alf.
anything else, gentlemen? I'm gonna dip because I feel like I need to go back to bed. Man, not well. Man, not
Hang
well.
on, mate.
But LB,
Yeah, we'll
anything
see,
you got coming up today? You doing out?
I'll probably do something tonight, man. But yeah, I was going to sit in the garden, but now it's suddenly just gone white instead of blue, which is nice. So,
Oh
yeah,
dear. Oh dear.
Nothing for me. Just starting a 3-day weekend now and looking forward to Monday. Should be fun. Rich and I will be heading up to Central Coast, catch up with the some of the old guard from the original supporters club here in Sydney. So looking forward to that. That'll be good.
Good man. Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who's there, please give it a big thumbs up on your way out. That is much appreciated. You know where LB is. We'll be back Sunday morning, Monday morning, Sunday night with the watch along. I know a lot of people will be on your watch along, LB. But you know,
yeah, man.
everyone's doing watch alongs now. But yeah. Anyway, have a great weekend. Enjoy whatever you're gonna do. And we'll see you all soon. Take care. I think I'm on Not in My Lifetime tonight. As long as I'm feeling better. Hopefully feeling better. I do apologise I'm off camera, but I look as white as a ghost at the minute. Not very good. But yeah, big up with you all. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Blues.